Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Ambience and Design, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the second project in Design 102, and that is called Place. I hope you guys enjoy the video. The objectives for this project are to investigate a space on campus, make an intervention, and finally produce an artifact that represents that space. To showcase all of the objectives, I have to mount all of my work on 3 18 by 24 panels of brown paper to show each demand. This project took place back in fall, so the vegetation was alive and the environment was filled with textures. I started with the site map. The location is Central Campus, and the few important factors to have within your site map are the scale of the map, the cardinal direction, and any notations of anything that occupy the space that you're drawing. So for this little map study, I used watercolor for the hue on watercolor paper. Of course, cold pressed 300 grams. The more grams you have, the thicker the paper is. After I went over with the watercolor, I applied another layer of micron pen for the outlines. I also did a section study, but at this time I didn't know what contour map was, so I just used my eye to kind of navigate the terrain and sketch out roughly how slopey the terrain was. Finally is a perspective drawing to capture the ambience and the essence of the space. Personally for me, I think it's very important because it sets the mood up for a certain way of approaching a space. And this is the first panel on brown paper. As you can see how I laid everything out. For the second demand, which is to create an intervention, I thought about how it was approaching winter and soon everything will die in nature. Well, not really die, but more into hibernation. But then when spring comes around, a new cycle begins. It's somewhat interesting how I can only see what's happening and not the different images of nature at the same time. With that being said, what is the main indicator of seasons change on a tree? The leaves. So I went out and I bought chicken wires and I cut them into small rectangles and placed them on an oak branch. Imagine the world like a simulation where the leaves are forming. That is the image that I was going for. I also made a watercolor painting to illustrate the idea that I had. For the final demand, which is to create an artifact that represents the space, I thought about how I can manipulate the fabric of space and just take every thing that is nature and just clump it up into a sphere. So I create this sketch in order to illustrate that idea. I went out and I bought a hollow 6-inch sphere made out of foams. It comes in 2 pieces. The first thing that I did to the sphere was to cut out a giant hole and made it look like something was born from the sphere. This idea goes back to the idea of rebirth, how seasons come and go and the cycle repeats itself. And then for the exterior, I started to break twigs that I found, and then I slowly glue it on one by one in a pattern so it's like a river that flows around outside the sphere. For the interior, I cut out multiple layers of paper and make sure they are circles so they would fit inside of the sphere. And each of the layer of paper, I would cut out a different type of pattern. When combined together, they form a texture and the pattern that resembles this image. Afterwards, I assemble all of the components, and this is the result of the sphere. For the final product, I put the images of the trees that I've taken in the first place and put them right next to the product that I've made, so you can see the transition from where I got my inspiration to the end of the journey. With that being said, this is it for this project. I hope you guys enjoy the journey. Like, comment, and subscribe for more architecture content from Iowa State University, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.